Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, I know this is probably old news to you now because I record these episodes around a week in advance, but I'm the happiest man right now because although it's winter, we get up in the morning, it's dark, and we get home from work and it's equally as dark. I've secured my tickets to next year's Glastonbury Festival, which seems a lifetime away, but I will be camping at Worthy Farm for the 10th time. Typically, servers crashed at 135,000 tickets that sold out in just 36 minutes. But the main reason I bring this up today is because I want to talk about how the events industry and events technology, or particularly how event technology, isn't working. And after 650 episodes, today's guest was an inspirational guy that I could have talked to for hours. And off air, he was also telling me how Facebook have launched an events discovery app that nobody has downloaded and nobody uses. But I just challenge everyone listening to that point. How many of you listening have actually downloaded another Facebook app for just events? I'm suspecting none of you have. If you have, let me know. Send me a quick tweet at Neil C. Hughes. I'll be curious for a quick show of hands of just how many people have that. And the point here is, if Facebook can't get this right, it's clear that the event discovery space is ripe for disruption. But who is going to have the right solution? And that brings me to today's guest, who is Richard Green, and he's the founder of Evvnt. That's spelled Evvnt. And they've had over 30,000 customers across 139 countries. And the company is also preparing to launch in the US, having recently entered into an agreement for a $450,000 investment from 3 major US newspaper groups. And I am conscious and have more than enough self-awareness to know that I bombard you with different guests every day from different industries. And I suspect that you can't listen to each and every episode because, or maybe certain industries just don't interest you. But I'm going to let you into a little secret. Today is a must-listen episode. And one of the favourite guests I've had on this show is a delight to speak with. And I think his passion just really comes through in everything that he says. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to London so we can speak with Richard Green from Evvnt. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Richard. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
My name is Richard Green. I'm the CEO and founder of a 6-year-old company called Evvnt, Evvnt.com. And our technology is really about providing and servicing the events industry with affordable local event marketing and local event discovery. That's what we do as a business.
So, like you said there, Evvnt is a London-based tech startup which has developed this unique event marketing automation software. So can you just set the scene a little and tell me what it is that you guys are doing differently and the kind of problems that you set out to solve?
Yeah, well, I can tell you the story that we evolved around. An average events organizer will submit an event to a ticketing company or a listing site, and on average, they'll put their event onto between 8 and 10 listing sites in an effort to get their event in front of a consumer audience. Makes sense. I have an event. Listing sites are where community and users are. Let's post. The reality of this is a lot of event listing sites don't have a huge amount of traffic when you break it down to location, category, and date. So what we did is we evolved that model. We allow, from a single submission, an events organizer to submit their event once. We have over 3,500 event listing sites. In fact, 96% of all listing sites worldwide. And we allow someone to submit an event once through our application. We then filter out every event listing site that wants and should take that content, and then we publish and distribute it. What does that really mean? Well, by putting an event on all listing sites, you reach a maximum community of event consumers that are looking for events. But how the world really changes is that when you place content on so many listing sites so quickly, Google identify that content very quickly, and we deliver somewhere between 30 and 70% first page of Google, pages 2, 3, 4, and 5, because we're delivering high-quality local events content through credible events listing sites. So the marketing impact of that activity is very, 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 very strong.
It's phenomenal. It really is. And when researching you guys, I quickly learned that through scalable SaaS technology, Evvnt creates a campaign marketing activity to ensure individual events appear on over 3,500 event listing sites. But since you launched in 2012, you've also had 30,000 customers in 139 different countries. So can you tell me more about this phenomenal success and any challenges around scaling your business in such a short space of time?
Well, actually, the success is something that you try. That success as a story is something you try not to do.
Yeah.
The story is that you would normally focus in a single vertical in a single town, and you try to be very competent within that industry. What happened for us is we went after the local events market, and we tried to get London, UK, for the events industry. And what happened was that the conference, exhibition, and trade show industry, who were physically had teams of people posting their conference and exhibition information onto many listing sites because they had more time and they had more money and resources. They spotted us. And I was contacted by a gentleman by the name of James White at IQPC, which is one of the big firms. And he said, could you build this for us for our organization? And we started to increase our distribution into the conference exhibition space as providing the whole service. And that fundamentally changed our price points, our revenue, and also our global appeal. One of the secrets of our business in terms of scalability is when we're trying to think about which listing sites to place an event on, we just added a button into the technology and we made a service level. We're going to submit your event to every listing site, and if it's missing, let us know, we'll add it. And we did. So suddenly you sign up Informa, which is a global company in Sydney, and they submit an event, and they say you're missing from 10 sites. We added those sites very quickly. In fact, marketing directors were emailing us Excel sheets with hundreds and hundreds of listing sites where they wanted their event to be through our service. So we went from sort of 300 listing sites as a syndication network through to around 3,500 very quickly in that first year. And also, because of that, we started to organically appeal to event organizers all over the world. And today, event organizers, not through direct marketing or outbound sales activities, event organizers have found us on the internet. They've related to the service that we supply. And we now today provide our service in over 139 countries worldwide, just by people looking for a solution to promoting an event in an affordable way.
So much so, I believe you're focused on the US at the moment. Got a LA office as well. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, well, we were looking at, I think one of the challenges with any event, with any technology company is distribution. I think they quote something like, to get an app download on a phone from a consumer, it costs about 12 to 15 pounds. So you can imagine the costs and the marketing budget required by someone like Uber to acquire that customer base. So as an English UK events technology, you just don't have the budgets that Uber have. So one of our challenges really is, how do you get distribution of your content, and also how do you acquire new customers? Well, one of the strategies that we implemented earlier last year was we decided to build event calendars. In the US, there's a $40 million business that is really around event calendar licensing and data licensing. We've just produced something which is called a revenue generating events calendar. We give away events calendars and data to new US newspapers. By default, they create distribution for our service, which is amazing. And secondly, by having an add event button on a calendar, people submit events. Isn't that an amazing way to introduce an event marketing service? You basically give a calendar to ohio.com, which we went live on this week, 109 million uniques a month. And as the calendar sits there, we can now publish there as part of providing a service, but event submissions start to occur in the local market. And from those submissions, we're able to introduce our premium distribution and syndication services. So the US has become a place where we're focusing in terms of increasing distribution through newspapers. It's a good place to get to local consumers, and also a great place to get to local event organizers. And on Monday last week, we signed a substantial deal with a company called Gatehouse Media, and they run over 500 newspapers in the States. We went live across their entire global platform within 1 hour. You can find our technology and premium service today on a lot of major newspapers in the States, including the Statesman in Austin, Austin 360, Ohio.com. So the US has become quite an attractive place in terms of distribution and also customer acquisition. And as you can imagine, the US is a 7 multiple economy. So we believe the growth will really come out of being in a really prosperous market.
It's fantastic to see a UK startup enjoying such great success on this side and the other side of the Atlantic. And I don't like to use the B word, but for the UK, I mean, how do you think Brexit will affect the UK's tech businesses? And how are you helping them overcome any challenges on the horizon as a result of that?
Well, there's the T issue, which is the Donald Trump issue.
Yeah.
And then there's the B issue, which is the Brexit issue. When we were raising money in the States for this project, Donald Trump went into presidency. I was actually in New York at the time. And there was a huge amount of noise and uncertainty about that, what that was going to do to the economy. And as an event limited company, we were uninterested. We're not an interesting opportunity. So we launched Evvnt Inc. And immediately the Donald Trump, the political focus of Donald Trump is about making America great again. So as Evvnt Inc., we're part of his story. Yeah. So that's a good news. That's helpful. In terms of back in London for Brexit, I have to say Brexit was a car crash for the events industry, in my opinion. Anybody outside of the UK in terms of investment, where in UK tech and UK investors, UK technology was being invested in by UK investors, but also the technology was being invested by Europe. We were one big family. And I think because of Brexit, all of the European investment arms stepped out and said, listen, we don't know what's going on in the UK right now. And we're going to be cautious and we're going to step out. And that meant, you lost probably 80% of the investment opportunities that you had before it occurred. Yeah. And then after that occurred, you also saw not only the investment issues, but you also start to see the concerns about what it would cost to be able to sell and supply services, not only in the UK as a UK business, but also in Europe as a different type of business entity. So in my opinion, Brexit was very damaging to the technology industry. And it was very damaging to any technology business trying to raise money. I think also it was also used by certain individuals to sort of hide. It's, they used it as an excuse. I think at the end of the day, there is companies out there that just powered through Brexit and went, well, this is just a bump in the road. But I think a lot of people used it as a reason just to be cautious and used it as a vehicle to say no because of this. And when otherwise they wouldn't have been able to have that option. So Brexit, I think, personally, I found Brexit very challenging and probably the reason why we focused more attention on how to expand the business from an investment raise and also technology growth in the US market, because Brexit was damaging, I think, the UK technology market due to it's slow. It's been very slow, hasn't it? It's not been a quick process. It's slow, it's draining, it's drawn out. And that's creating uncertainty and lack of decision making within our own country, but also within other countries that affect us. So, yeah, it's been hard, Brexit.
Yeah, I completely agree. But on a positive note, can you tell me a little bit more about how business events actually attract 67 million UK attendees every year with a total annual spend of 2.5 billion? I mean, that's a good stat, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting. The events industry at large, if I said to you, here's £50, go and market your event, what would you actually do? Because £50 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
What would you go and do? Well, you can't buy print very easily. And if you can, you've got to have someone to hand it out. If you were going to go buy advertising, you can't get in the local paper, you can't get on radio. It's amazing. The entire events industry predominantly works by a lot of spend into outreach via telesales teams, business events attended by people that actually go and find events. And a really big stat for you, 86% of most events are found via doing a Google search. They end up on a listing site where the information's held. But consumers today, global, 86% of consumers looking for events do a Google search. 30 to 60% of people that attend an event today will normally attend an event because they've heard about it or will be receiving an email from an event they've been to before. But getting to more events consumers that don't know about events, you've either got to be in Google today because that's where they're looking, or you've got to somehow figure out how you find out who they are to contact them through telephone and email, which is very expensive. But it's true. There is a huge amount of business events happening all over the UK. Business events that range from training to education to seminars to conferences, exhibitions and trade shows. I think that's one thing that's great about Britain is business here is always booming and people are very interested in learning about the next level of information around their industry. And there's a huge amount of investment in education and training. And those events exist all over the UK. The challenge for all of those organizations is trying to figure out how you take attendance from 30% to 60%. And actually, if you think about it, profitability sits in the attendance getting from 60% to 100%. And as an events marketing company, that's what we focus our marketing dollar on. How do we get people that are searching Google that don't know about your event to attend your business event? Because if I can get your event attendance from 60%, probably more than likely where break even occurs, to 70, 80, 90 to 100% capacity. 100% capacity as an events company, you're making money. So the events industry at large is doing very well. Business events are a big part of our culture. But again, awareness of what events are on. If I asked you right now to tell me what business events are on near you today in Birmingham or London, it's very hard to find that information. So our big mission right now is to make that information more readily accessible to people that want to attend events. Because those events are out there. People that are attending, there's money being spent, but consumer attendance and business attendance is just not where it needs to be. So we're trying to really make that change, improve that stat.
And there really is a lot of money being made out there. I mean, I was fortunate enough to capture my tickets for the Glastonbury Festival next year for my 10th visit. Can you tell me more about how tickets are costing us $17 billion a year? And those tickets are not all football, are they?
No, the ticketing industry is an interesting one. You know, there's a few major players in ticketing. There's consolidation in ticketing. And if you know your stuff on ticketing, you will have seen the big players actually terminated a couple of big sites recently, removing the secondary market. And, you know, Ed Sheeran is at Glastonbury, and he knows that an Ed Sheeran concert, he's pioneering, you know, for you to be able to be for affordable tickets for fans. But the reality is the guy that sells you it, Ticketmaster, then goes and gives it to a secondary company, you know, that they own, and they resell it to the fan at $300, $400. Yeah. Or you know, and it's not a good industry when you start to see the secondary market. However, ticketed events are an important part of our event ecosystem. In fact, one of our missions in the US and in the UK is to actually activate ticketing as a default on when you submit an event. Most people have to be educated on why ticketing's good. Most people, when they submit an event, they don't think that their event's worthy of ticketing. It's only, you know, when you think about ticketing, you think Beyonce, you know, you think about Bruno Mars, you think about Glastonbury, and these guys do it because it's smart. Making an event ticketed means you can collect the name, email, maybe a telephone number, and you can take a payment, which means whether you go or not, you're cash positive on your event. Well, if I was running a business event in Birmingham, don't you think I want an email address, a name, a mobile number, and some cash up front for the event that I'm trying to run? So I think the ticketing industry is predominantly around educated event organizers and users. It's obviously that where the money is where the big events like Glastonbury draw in the big numbers. You can imagine that your ticket price for Glastonbury, the amount of people go, that's a multi-million-dollar opportunity. Yeah. But actually, what I think about ticketing, which is a bit more interesting, if you took every event that was going on in the whole of the UK and applied ticketing as default to on, and every event was sent a list of people that said they were coming, included an email and telephone number so you could communicate with them. And actually, if the event pre-sold 10 tickets at £10 and you had £100 sitting in PayPal or in the bank or somewhere, don't you think every event should be ticketed? In my opinion, then they should be. And I think ticketing is just something that isn't accessible to everyone because it's seen as complicated. And one of our missions next year as part of our product roadmap is to enable ticketing for all local event organizers. And that ticketing number that you're referencing, we're hoping to really increase that revenue number, but more from the local market. Yes, there's not going to be millions of people going to a local event in Birmingham, but there's millions of events going on, whereas Glastonbury is just one. So enablement of local events on ticketing is one of my passions next year, purely around delivering accountable ROI on the effort of marketing events to show that the event was successful and also make the event more confident going into the day it starts. But the ticketing industry at large is a bigger. They're big companies behind ticketing. You know, they're big. Eventbrite just IPO'd last week. Impressive share price that grew. The ticketing industry is not going anywhere anytime soon. It's a monster.
Fantastic. So I'm sure you've awoken the curiosity in more than a few people listening all over the world today. So can you tell the listeners just how they can submit their event just once, and then you will amplify it across thousands of sites to reach a potential audience of more than 40 million people? How can they get up and running?
Well, there's two approaches. They'll either come across us on their local newspaper in the United States of America. We do have other events calendars sitting across certain parts of the world, in United Arab Emirates, in Australia, in the UK. You may come across us on the calendars that are out there in the market, because we're looking to replace these calendars that are ineffective with a calendar that not only delivers good marketing, but also this access to our product. But if you want to bypass that process, you can come to Evvnt.com. We ask you three things. What's the name of your event? What's the category of your event? And what's the location of your event? Off the back of that, we simply can look to see what event calendars are available that want that content. And immediately we can show you which listing sites want comedy in Birmingham, or live music in Nottingham, or a conference event in Edinburgh. Once you see the distribution from a single submission, it's attractive. To get your event in front of 40, 50 listing sites with an audience reach on those sites of 40 million plus, that's attractive. So what we ask you to do is complete the form and give us all of the juicy information. Don't forget what I mentioned, 86% of people are looking for the event in Google. So the listing sites that we're going to submit your content to and syndicate with, they need good content. So we really want you to give us a great title, a summary, a description, keywords, links to your social, links to ticketing, price points. Once that information is collected from you, we present you with the price point to market the service. We charge a fee to market one event. You can buy a bundle. If you go onto a subscription plan, there's heavy discounts, because we know that some companies, some venues, like comedy venues, are running events every week. And if you're happy with the price, and that's my job, is to get it affordable and effective, you can transact online, and we deliver instantly a report that's delivered on a per event basis. So you give us 10 events, we give you 10 reports to show the accountability of our service. And very simply, the moment you submit the event, we transact, distribute that content to all relevant listing sites, provide a report per event. On that report, we show you your event, every single site that it's been sent to based on social, local, national, global, the industry that it might relate to, let's say sports. But if it's a running event, we'll get it onto running sites. And every single page that we create on the web, we add a tracking link. We can show you how many people come through that link. And if you're using Eventbrite, which is one of our global partners and resellers, if you're using Eventbrite, by clicking connecting your Eventbrite account, we can not only show you clicks coming from the network of consumers who are interested in your event, but if they buy a ticket at Eventbrite, we show you registration and revenue. So it's a very, very simple service. It takes a single form submission to access the network of listing sites. And from a single submission, we give you a fully accountable report that shows you where your event's gone, how that SEO is delivering value, how many customers are coming through. And if you're using Eventbrite today, registration and revenue. But it all starts from Evvnt.com. Just go to the website, sign up, and you're away.
We've already revealed a few teasers of where you're heading, and it sounds incredibly exciting what you're going to be doing in the US. But is there anything else you can share with us about Evvnt today and your future plans and where you're heading?
Well, yeah, I can tell you a little bit about how we're going to change event discovery and local event marketing. We launched last week with a newspaper in Bakersfield, the one I mentioned at the beginning. It's a newspaper in a town just outside of Los Angeles. For the same time, in this instance, for the same time it took to submit an event to the local newspaper, which is going into the technology service that we've built today, we've actually produced a product in Bakersfield where you can submit an event to your local newspaper. And let me just give you the story of what used to happen. You'd fill out the form. It would get emailed to an editor who might see it, who might be on holiday, who might think about putting it online, might even put it in the paper, but it's the luck of the draw, no longer. In Bakersfield, if you were to go to the local newspaper and submit an event, it instantly puts the event online, and it goes live on their brand, on their domain, and is indexed into Google real time. If you upgrade it to premium, which is an affordable figure to do that, that event is then featured on the Bakersfield event section on the homepage of the events calendar. If it's a comedy event, it will be featured in the comedy section of that calendar. And also that information will be available through a content widget wherever there is comedy referenced across their site. On top of that, our technology kicks in and then distributes that event to 40 plus listing sites, building page after page after page of content for that event on any listing site based on category, location, or take that event. The data that sits within the calendar is also fed straight through and converted into print. So we are automatically delivering a page of event listings that include the paid listing, which would appear in the Thursday newspaper. And lastly, we also convert that same paid content into a service called Spoken Layer, which converts the events information into voice, which means if you're in Bakersfield looking for a comedy event, it could be on the newspaper, featured, distributed on any of your favorite listing sites. More than likely, if you Google it, 86% chance that you're going to get pinged up in the Google search. If you open the local newspaper, it'll be in the paper as a print page. And lastly, if you're in your car or if you're at home and you say to your Tesla, tell me what's going on locally, that event would appear in Siri or Alexa in a voice search result. For me, that's powerful. That is event marketing at the very highest level in today's economy. We know people don't have the Facebook event apps on their phone because it just isn't working. We know that the Google Events app's just not on the phone because we know it doesn't work. But we do know people are looking for events, and we do know that they have lots of places to look. So we think the local newspaper, all event listing sites, Google search, the newspaper in a print format and on voice, that's a comprehensive coverage. And something like that event locally can be delivered anywhere between $60 and $100. So that's effective event marketing, and that's what we're working towards. Strong content distribution, getting events information to consumers who are looking, but also making sure it's exactly where they're looking and not just being restricted to a standalone app, which people never know which one's the right one to go to. So that's a little bit about what we're doing around the events marketing piece. Distribution and getting content to consumers is a priority for us right now because we believe consumers are looking, they just don't know where to go.
Wow, I would go as far as to say that is a complete game changer, what you've just brought up there. And I can almost feel a lot of people leaning forward, and you've just captured their attention. So if there is anyone listening that want to find out more information, can you just remind them of where they can find you online or contact a member of your team if they've got any questions after our conversation today?
Yeah, sure. Well, the company's called Evvnt.com. It's a misspelling on the word event. It's EVVNT. We're the only company worldwide based out of London, predominantly built out of London over the last 5 years, that provides event marketing. So if you look for us online, looking for EVVNT, you'll find us on the web. You'll find me personally on LinkedIn. My name is Richard Green. You'll find me online. But if you want to get in touch with the company, come to the website, have a look at what we do. On the how-to page, there's me. There's a great video in terms of how we explain what we do, just to educate people on the service and offering. But feel free to get in touch. Either contact me through LinkedIn. I'm very accessible. Or through the website. And if you're in the UK, we have a UK team that are based down in London, just on Soho Square. Alternatively, if you're anywhere else in the world, we operate today in Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, Brazil, Germany, and now we've just opened offices in the US. So do feel free to get in touch. Our job is to answer those questions around how to make your event successful. And I think what you'll be surprised about is the amount of marketing delivery and accountability that we deliver to you for that marketing, that dollar, that pound. It's affordable. And if it isn't affordable, that's something that we keep working towards. So love people to get in touch, and we'd love to see if the service we provide today can resolve their issues of creating a full event.
The fact that Evvnt has had over 30,000 customers across 139 countries is an impressive achievement on its own. But I particularly love how you're also passionate about supporting the UK's tech businesses and helping them scale too. So keep up the fantastic work. But more than anything, just a big thank you for sharing that story with me today.
No problem at all. It's been the UK tech market is a great, I'm in central London, and there is technology in the UK, not only in London. We meet some amazing technology companies in Birmingham, Nottingham, Edinburgh as a hub. We continue to support UK technology. And I also spend a huge amount of time talking to companies in the UK, trying to assist them understand the challenges of growing technology companies. So if there is any entrepreneurs out there that are working in the tech space around events, whether it be ticketing or event listing sites, publishing, more than happy to speak to those technology companies and try and assist if they're in the early stages. Getting past year 2, year 3, it's challenging. We're a profitable technology company that's hit 6 years. We've learned a lot of things, and more than happy if there is also on the technology side businesses there that want to have a conversation. If I can help, more than happy to speak to them as well. Not just about selling our service, but actually happy to help companies in our industry progress if I can be helpful.
After over 650 interviews, I've started to develop a spidey sense for people that are quite special and could go on to transform an entire industry with their ideas and their passion for what they're doing. And Richard is one of those people. For me, his passion really shined through today, and the problems that he is solving also really resonate with anyone listening to us in 165 countries to this show. So I throw this one out to you. Do you know right now how many business events are taking place in the next 7 days within a 10-mile radius of your home or your office? And if you don't know right now, how would you locate all that information if you wanted to and put it into one place? And this, for me, kind of highlights the problem. The current system is not working. It's a real fragmented marketplace where you have to go on individual sites to find out all the events that are near you. And as a result, you're probably missing out on a lot of events that would be really valuable to you. On the other side of the fence, event organisers are submitting press releases into the abyss where it just sits on a virtual pile of other unread press releases. And that's not the answer either. But what is the answer? Richard has given a fantastic vision of what he believes is the future, but if you work in the event space, I'd love to hear your thoughts too. So as always, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes, email me techblogwriter@outlook.com, or also pop by my website, techblogwriter.co.uk/podcasts, and you'll be able to leave me a virtual voicemail. Like I said at the beginning of the show, the fact that Evvnt creates that campaign of marketing activity and ensuring that individual events appear on over 3,500 different event listing sites since its launch back in 2012 really highlights just how many event listing sites there are and the scale of the problem. The fact that they've got 30,000 customers across 139 countries is pretty cool too. So let me know your thoughts, but I've got to go now. I'll return tomorrow with another guest, and hopefully we can change the world together one little bit at a time. So thanks for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.